Welcome to our Fireside Chat. We're here to discuss how conversational AI will revolutionize the way traditional chatbots support customer engagement. One of the latest innovations in the field is ChatGPT, an artificial intelligence platform that has achieved a remarkable milestone. Recent data collected by Blockchain Center shows that ChatGPT amassed a user base of 1 million in just 5 days, surpassing Netflix's user acquisition rate by over 250 times. And for what it's worth, it took Netflix over 1,200 days to accomplish the same thing. UBS analysts estimate that ChatGPT had 100 million users by January 2023. This achievement highlights the speed and efficiency with which conversational AI can acquire and engage users. ChatGPT's impressive success has solidified its position as a premier AI language model in the industry. And we believe it's just the beginning of what's possible with conversational AI and customer engagement. I'm Michael Grillo. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing at Galileo Financial Technologies, the sponsor of this Fireside Chat. Today, we're going to discuss what's driving the need for conversational artificial intelligence and how does it differ from traditional chatbots and improve the customer experience. We'll get a glimpse of the Cyberbank Connecta conversational AI platform from Galileo, and we'll explore use cases for conventional conversational AI and share some of the benefits Galileo clients' customers are experiencing with the Connecta platform. Joining me today are two of the smartest banking and payment technology experts in the game, Ron Shevlin from Cornerstone Advisors and David Foyer from Galileo. So I'll ask both of you to introduce yourselves, your role and company, and Ron, we'll start with you.
Great, thanks, Mike. Ron Shevlin, Chief Research Officer at Cornerstone Advisors. We are a consulting firm serving the mid-sized bank and credit union market. Having said that, I don't really do any of that. I've been an analyst for 27 years now. I had worked at Forrester Research and IT Group for many years before joining Cornerstone 8 years ago. And my focus is really looking at how technology is impacting the financial services industry. I like to say that I sit at the intersection of the supply and demand for technology in financial services, looking at what consumers are doing, small businesses, as well as the supply side and what the financial institutions are doing and planning from a technology perspective.
I'm Dave Foyer. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Galileo. At Galileo, we're proud to be the driving force behind some of America's most successful fintechs. So if you think about Bluevine and Daily Pay, Dave, Pomelo, Tomo, Toast, and of course, SoFi, our parent company, and many more, as well as some international companies like Monzo and Moneyline. Our API-based financial technology platform is an awesome industry standard-setting platform for boosting fraud detection, great security, decision-making analytics, compliance functionality, and of course, terrific debit, credit, and money movement functionality. We also offer an end-to-end next-generation digital and core banking system that empowers financial institutions to create tailored financial products at the speed that the market expects, and not necessarily at the speed that your IT stack is used to moving at. And part of that is our conversational AI platform called Connecta.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you joining us for this Fireside Chat. So the numbers that I mentioned earlier speak for themselves, but let's start getting into some of the nitty-gritty here. What exactly do we mean when we talk about conversational AI, generative AI, ChatGPT, et cetera? And how do they differ? Ron, could you maybe kick us off in this dialogue here around setting some level setting on some of the terminology?
Absolutely. While there's a lot of overlap between conversational AI and generative AI, I think for the folks that are listening in, I think one of the most useful ways to think about the differences is to understand how they differ from an output perspective. They're both designed to understand human input, human language, to take it in, but the differences really are about what they produce. Conversational AI is generally producing text, language, in a conversational form, which is why we call it conversational AI. On the other hand, generative AI is designed to produce a wide range of output. It could be text, images, audio, video. You can ask generative AI to write code for you. You could ask generative AI to write music for you, and do it in the style of Bach, Beethoven, or Dr. Dre if you wanted to. You couldn't do that with conversational AI. It has a bit different purpose in that. And generative AI is generally associated with large language models, which is what ChatGPT, what you alluded to a little while ago, Mike, is. And those are deep learning models that generally have billions of parameters being used, and then using it for sentiment analysis, entry recognition, a wide range of tasks, where conversational AI tends to be a little bit more limited in its use cases and purposes.
Great baseline level setting. David, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I mean, Ron gave a great intro. So I think that the one thing I would add is we're seeing tremendous leaps in AI in general. Obviously, the lots of the talk in AI and the excitement is around generative AI and large language models, as Ron mentioned. But we're also seeing tremendous leaps in natural language processing. So taking some of what we're learning in other areas of AI and approaching natural language processing with those learnings is enabling us to get a whole bunch of really great impact delivering features. So if I think about like how do marketers create ad copy and email, and how do financial professionals start to automate bookkeeping and reporting, we're bringing those types of learnings to natural language processing, so that we're seeing, for instance, customer service agents not just using it to generate responses for themselves, but also to compile FAQ documents. We use it in our internal products in order to do conversation summaries, so that when you hand off from an intelligent digital assistant to a human, the human can pick up in the context of the customer and their journey, rather than having to reset the context and ask the customer a whole bunch of questions. So we're trying to take a bunch of those learnings from these fast growing areas in AI and move them into natural language processing and other areas of AI that perhaps are not as fast growing.
Conversational and customer engagement dialogue.
Sure. I would argue, and I do think this is arguable, that you could have a chatbot that isn't actually driven by AI, that is simply a rules-based engine with a very limited conversation capability. And I think the difference is sort of in the context of the utilization of machine learning tools and technology that differentiates a chatbot from an intelligent digital assistant. A chatbot, so it feels to me like you might think of it as like chatbots are kids and intelligent digital assistants are adults. Nothing against kids or adults, but think of it as one being much more sophisticated and capable in terms of its capabilities. So a chatbot typically relies on basic FAQs, does minimal interpretation, has limited conversation translation capabilities, whereas an intelligent digital assistant is using machine learning to anticipate and interpret language, predict responses, suggest actions. Chatbot is generally a very simple question and answer type of situation, single turn dialogues, where an intelligent digital assistant can and feels much more like an ongoing conversation between two entities, usually a human and the machine. So I see kind of a journey, and that's why we called our report the Chatbot Journey, of institutions starting with basic capabilities in a chatbot and growing or emerging into a more of an intelligent digital assistant as it becomes smarter and as they incorporate more machine learning type tools and technologies into their product.
David, I saw you shaking your head in agreement there.
Yeah, I think Ron hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think Ron, you use the word feel, right? How does it feel? And I think if I think about the difference, chatbots really lack this understanding of human emotions. They might provide accurate answers, kind of a cold search interface, but they fall short of really understanding sort of customer moods, emotions, and they don't know how to reply accordingly. So they don't modulate their replies based on the interaction themselves. Intelligent digital assistants use advanced natural language processing so they can analyze these nuances of natural language and interact in a more human-like way, offering a much better customer experience. So I think that's definitely the key piece of it. Another key difference is, like, if I think about maintaining the conversation flow, and we talked a little bit about context earlier and handoff to a human agent. If you break the conversation with a chatbot and you come back a little bit later, you have to completely reset context and restart from scratch. An intelligent digital assistant is something that's omnichannel and understands where you're at in your journey and uses your previous interactions with it in order to know that that's your context. So if you were having a challenge before and then you disappear and come back, it knows that you were having that challenge and can use that in order to better address your needs at that time, assuming that your needs are in any way related. Whereas, let's say, a chatbot really has no clue and is starting the whole flow again from scratch.
David, let me throw it. I think one very helpful way to think about it is the word predict. A chatbot isn't predicting where the conversation is going or predicting what the next action or where it should be routed. Whereas an intelligent digital assistant, because of its more complex and sophisticated capabilities, has more of that prediction capability.
Absolutely. So I think if I took that a step further, if we think about financial services and the reason customers want to interact with the bank and the reason customers are even talking to this digital assistant to begin with, a chatbot might help them find a resolution for a problem, but a chatbot is never going to help advise them on next best action. A chatbot's never going to be able to say, "Oh, I see you have a steady flow of deposits. Perhaps you should consider a CD product versus putting that in your checking account." So the intelligent digital assistant really does have that predictive capability, and I think that really gives it a significant leg up, and not just cost savings, but in other areas where automation and these types of interfaces can drive more value.
Great distinctions, guys. Thanks. So, thinking about that, and David, you started to allude to a little bit about, the practicalities of using conversational AI. Can you share with us some of the use cases best suited for this technology in banking or fintech? And Dave, I'll start with you.
Today, we see a lot of our customers, a lot of our clients primarily applying it to elevate the customer service experience. So if we think about the online chat interface and voice assistants like Alexa and Siri, we see our clients offering their customers the ability to provide customer service using those interfaces, and we see them doing that quite successfully. But we also see some clients expanding conversational AI to new use cases, and this is a little bit about what I alluded to earlier. If you think about an entire organization and supporting internal teams like operations and marketing and HR, and not just customer service, teams are using it in order to collaborate and figure out how to do much better knowledge management beyond sort of the normal human-to-human interactions that can take a significant toll on an organization. And then, and this, by the way, is what Cornerstone Advisors talked about, making it a member of the team. Ron, I read your report. It was great. So making it a member of the team, how can we see this intelligent digital assistant really helping folks do their job better? And then, of course, we talk about cost savings and customer service and call containment, but also the whole advisory side of things. How can we help use intelligent digital assistants to have a conversation with customers that's contextual, understands the customer, where they're at and their banking behavior, and then provide them suggestions based on that?
If I can just throw in a couple of comments, and by the way, David, thank you very much for reading the report and for the plug on that. I think it's helpful for a lot of executives to start thinking about the use cases for this, and it is very wide ranging, but to think of it in a process context. What are the various processes, whether it's consumer oriented or customer oriented, I should say, like account opening, applying for products, things like that. I think the problem that a lot of folks have is that it feels very kind of generic. Oh, it can answer a bunch of questions. We can have a conversation. The way to think about it is to think about it in terms of certain processes, and where do processes bog down in terms of exceptions, problems, where a chat bot or a intelligent digital assistant can interject and improve the process so that there aren't these hiccups and exceptions and things like that. So, I'm encouraging financial institutions to think about their digital account opening processes. And there are places where they say, well, there's naturally going to be places where, we kind of have a problem and have to route it out to a human. No, that's the point where you want to route it out to an intelligent digital assistant who can fill in that gap and continue the digital process instead of rerouting it out to some human intervention. So looking at this from a process perspective, I think is one of the key ways to think about the use cases.
Great. And I think honestly, we're starting to touch a little bit on, kind of where are the future opportunities for bringing conversational AI to organizations. We've mentioned process, we've mentioned making it part of the organization. We've talked about collaboration. Any other opportunities you guys think about, Ron, that maybe kind of still on the cusp, or that banks and fintechs could be thinking about for the next wave?
Well, it's not so much from a use case perspective, and from my view, as much as it is thinking about, and going back to David's, bringing up the point of our report about making it a member of the team. I have this argument with a number of folks. I say that I think you're going to need multiple types of chatbots or multiple types of intelligent digital assistants. In reality, it might really just be one, but from the user's perspective, and that user might be a external customer or an internal employee, it feels different because there's a different personality to the chatbot or intelligent digital assistant, and a different set. They'll feel like they're dealing with not this monolithic chatbot that can answer anything, but something that's more specific to their function, their department, their job responsibilities, that feel like there's somebody sitting next to me helping me do my job, versus something that everybody else has access to. So I think you got to think about the chatbot, when you think about it as a member of the team, is thinking about it from the perspective, well, if you were to bring in a new hotshot employee who you thought was going to have long-term senior management potential, you'd be thinking about, okay, how do I encourage and nurture this person to grow? How do I put them through or her through a number of the different departments in the organization so they learn about the business? How do I make sure they get the right training? And I know it's hard to think of it this way, but it is similar to your chatbot or your intelligent digital assistant. You've got to continually train it. You've got to continually be thinking about, where does it move through the organization and continue to grow? It's not going to become the CEO of the organization by any stretch of the imagination, but it could certainly become an assistant or tool that senior management uses to improve their abilities to do what they're doing. And I don't think a lot of senior executives see that. I think a lot think it's something, a tool for frontline support, customer center, contact center, and not thinking about it in terms of how does it support nearly everybody in the organization.
I think I see things along the same lines. I think frequently we think about chatbots, to your point, Ron, we think about this in the context of cost savings, call containment, all of that. And the real question we should be asking is, what value proposition can we get from this technology, and where can we see it apply in a way that can be impactful? And I think that's when we start to think about chatbots and non-intelligent digital assistants. If we move to intelligent digital assistants and we really think that this can meaningfully change the customer experience, help engender more trust, and help project the brand, the financial services company's brand to customers, because that brand is more about what my interactions are, what am I expecting from those interactions, why do I have trust in this organization, and how is that intelligent digital assistant interacting with me? I can start thinking about those same principles internally. How can I take that trust and customer relationship and turn that into a trusted employee relationship? How can I turn to my employees and say, let me help supercharge the way you approach cross-selling? Because the intelligent digital assistant knows, for instance, the client situation, what the client has, what the best next steps are, what have they asked about in the past, etc. How can I use it to promote new products and services? How can I start thinking about leveraging that intelligent digital assistant to have a different conversation, a different relationship with my customers, with my clients, with my coworkers, and help me do my job better? And I think, to your point, Ron, I think a lot of executives tend to run towards, oh, intelligent digital assistants are for cost containment and for bringing down the cost of call centers. And I think there's a whole other side of this that says, where is the value in this technology, and how can I apply it broadly in my organization to move the needle?
Yeah, there's nothing that depresses me more in this conversation about chatbots and intelligent digital assistants than when I hear somebody say, yeah, we need a chatbot to handle the easy questions so that, we can relieve our people of the easy stuff. And I just have to shake my head and think, oh my gosh, you are so missing the boat if that's your objective, is to just, handle the easy stuff so that your people don't have to do that. Wrong way to use this technology.
Thanks, guys. Some great perspective thinking of, the external facing applications as well as looking internally in the organizations. So we're going to shift here for a moment, and Nick Watson, who's the digital lead at Galileo, is going to take us through a demo of Galileo's Cyberbank Connected product. So.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I'm going to be walking you through the Connecta platform today. On a high level, Connecta was designed with two things in mind: to help a bank's back office alleviate some of the pressure in their call center, and to help navigate their customers through their digital landscape. On a high level, everyone knows that chatbots suck. No one likes to work with chatbots, and the call center is often overworked, undertrained, and the rate of attrition is very high for those employees. And so Connect is designed to bridge that gap between technology and operations. With that in mind, we'll dive in and show you how it works. Right off the bat, your customer is going to come in and they're going to say, hi, hello. And that's going to trigger that first response from the chatbot, Connecta. We like to refer to them as virtual personal banking assistants. I think it makes it a little bit easier on the ears. So, hi, welcome to Tech Bank. How can I help you today? Right off the bat, I'm going to go, when is my loan payment due date? So these are the sorts of questions that an individual would come into your bank, into your branch, and ask a teller face-to-face. That's the goal, is enabling that conversational layer, because that's where that relationship occurs with the customer. That's where you can learn a little bit more about them and better meet their needs. And so before we do anything, we're going to have to link our account, log in. And so this is where, on the back end, it enables the call center employee to help track me as a customer through their system. And so now my account information is pulled in, and I can start to ask a little bit more complex or complicated questions. So my payment due date's on the 14th. And so I'm going to ask, has my rent payment cleared? Something that's really important when you're evaluating virtual personal banking assistants, chatbot, anything that's using artificial intelligence, machine learning, or natural language processing, is making sure that it's not just a workflow or a click through. And so I'm going to ask the same question, but in a little bit of a different way. So I'm going to say, has my rent been paid? And that really helps highlight that this is natural language processing. It's taking in what you're saying, and it's actually articulating it and being able to use it for intelligent responses. So I'm going to go, what is my available balance? Okay, I'm going to want to review some of these transactions. That does not look right. And so something that's important to recognize is, what's that trigger? What's going to move the customer from the chatbot to a live agent? And we've decided on empathy. Using an empathic engine is the best way to guide a user through their journey. rather than giving them a map and saying, oh, troubleshoot yourself, here's what we think it might be. You need some sort of trigger that goes, okay, a human intervention is necessary for this customer experience to be the best possible experience for our customers. That must be wrong. That does not look right. I didn't authorize an Amazon transaction. There, Connecta sensed that I'm unhappy, my sentiments changed, there's been a difference in how I'm interacting with the chatbot, and so it's going to get me connected with a live banker. And this is really important because this is where the training that you've done in your call center helps streamline some of the higher value customers you have and move them into their predefined customer bases or customer segmentations that banks spend a lot of money building out. So do I want a video call so I can help figure this out faster? I would love that. Yes, please. So this is the final portion of the Connecta support funnel. At the very start, you have an artificial intelligent virtual personal banking assistant that helps guide you through the 80%, that 80-20 rule, the frequently asked questions. If you have any product questions, all of that's tailored to a bank's goals, what they've done themselves, what their plans are strategically. And once you've been catered through there, it's sent some sentiments been altered. It's going to move you to a face-to-face interaction. And now I'm chatting with my colleague, Juan. And so Juan's actually one of the product owners for Connecta. He works on the team that's built this out from Latin America and bringing it to North America. And so he's going to share his screen really quickly so you can see a little bit of what it would look like for the back-end agent. And so all of this is customizable and tailored. And so Juan, if you want to pull that up.
Yeah, for sure. I will leverage our screen sharing. Okay, so I just want to remark this amazing feature that we have built, the empathic engine, that helps the call center agents with the customers being frustrated. Okay, so we have this state-of-the-art deep learning models that extract sentiment and emotion from text. Okay, so by analyzing every text of the conversation, we can assure that the end customer is having a good experience. So what we can see here, I just want to show you a little bit through. The idea is that what we have here is the history of the conversation. So when the agent take over the communication, can know everything and not need to be like go back over all the conversation. And the thing here is that when Nick was like frustrated about this transaction that he didn't authorize, our deep learner models inferred that the sentiment was negative. So that triggered on the back end an agent to do the takeover. So we think that this is one of our amazing features. We have other ones that we would like to show you through. So yeah, we're excited to meet you.
Well, thank you for taking some time out of your day to go through our platform with us. I know we really appreciate it. And if you have any questions about some of the features and functionality, please schedule a demo with our team. Juan and I will be more than happy to walk you through the platform and meet you face-to-face and interact and answer any questions you may have. We're really excited and we're looking forward to meeting you. Thanks so much.
Okay. Well, so that was just a short glimpse of Cyberbank Connecta, showing how the platform can react and respond to the end customers' experience and feelings, if you will. Ron, I'm curious, after looking at that, if you have any initial thoughts and how that comes through from from what you've seen in the marketplace.
Yeah, I think it's the empathic engine aspect of this is super, super important. Nick's funny. Nick did allude to the fact that a lot of people think chatbots suck, and so did I, and so do I. And one of the things that I don't like about a lot of the chatbots I use is that I'm not generally using it for informational purposes. I know how to check my balances. I know how to check my transactions, and a lot of people do. I'm generally using customer support, whether it's live or if I've got a chat bot or some other chat capability there, when I have a problem and there's too many chat bots out there that string you along trying to, hi, how are you? I got a problem. Okay. You need that empathic capability immediately to sense, okay, calm down, Mr. Shevlin. What's your problem? Blah, 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 I didn't authorize this, and now I got a 500 negative balance. No problem. Let me get you to somebody. Instead of saying, well, let me review the account and do this and string me along, you need that ability to understand where is this customer's head at, and understand, can the agent, the digital agent or the chatbot handle the problem or not? And if not, you got to get to the live agent as quickly as possible with the context. Because if you've got to now repeat everything to the live agent, you've really created some ill will with the customer, who then had to deal with a chatbot, tell it was pissed off, and then tell the live agent and pissed off too. Why didn't you know this? So the empathic aspect of this is super important, and the integration of the context is super important, and that is simply not the case in a lot of chatbots that are being deployed today.
Awesome. Yeah, we're extremely proud of the work the team has been putting into and continues to put into Connecta and the empathic engine. So thanks. Good perspective there. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Connecta and Galileo's approach here. Dave, could you briefly talk about how Galileo is managing data control and security, as we move forward with this evolution of conversational AI?
Sure. And I think this is a super common question, right? I mean, I think we're all a little bit concerned, especially with sensitive customer information and the customer relationship. We want to make sure that, of course, customer trust is at the center of this conversation, and that all the technologies that we institute, particularly in financial service, keep the customer's security, privacy, and trust in mind. So I think I'd like to approach this a little bit from a technology side. Being a chief product officer, I'm a little bit of a geek. I think if we think about the way AI engines are trained, and particularly the way Connecta's AI engine is trained, Cyberbank Connecta is a completely private AI engine. We build our own transformers. We deploy them with data that's trained on our customers' own systems, and whether it's in a customer's private cloud or private server installation, or a public cloud that's only accessible to that client, we basically keep privacy and industry regulatory compliance top of mind. So the data is only the customer's data. It's safe with a maximum data privacy policy that fundamentally doesn't let anything leave your organization. You train the data against your interactions and your customer data, and it's yours and stays in your network and within your company's domain. So nothing from Cyberbank Connecta from customer data ever leaves your domain. And so that's top of mind, is that we're deploying something specifically to your company, to your infrastructure, to be yours and to be kept private, and not for general use. I think the second thing is really industry regulatory compliance. And that's really about, do we know what the industry regulations are regarding using customer data? And can we ensure to a client that we are being regulatorily compliant, or rather that our product is regulatorily compliant, and that the client has the peace of mind to know that if they use this piece of technology, they're not falling afoul of any specific regulatory issue. And so we spend a lot of time thinking about and implementing regulatory compliance into the product so that clients have that peace of mind, versus, let's say, using open source products or off-the-shelf products from other technology providers that may burden the customer or the client with figuring out how to maintain regulatory compliance.
Awesome. Yeah, security and compliance certainly at the forefront of a lot of these conversations as clients look to implement this type of capability. Dave, could you also talk about some of the benefits the Galileo clients have received or have realized using Cyberbank Connecta?
Sure. So of course, and we talked a little bit about this already, we see improved productivity, operations, and customer service. So let me just give you a couple of examples there. I think on the customer service side, and particularly automating customer service tasks, I think one of the areas where we see an arduous process is onboarding customers. So there's required paperwork and answering questions and questions they might have. And we really see the intelligent digital assistant that's built into Cyberbank Connecta doing that in a way that's customer friendly and that's lightweight. And the empathic engine actually works quite well in this scenario because sometimes customers don't have, let's say, a required piece of paperwork. And so we can talk about how they can obtain it or what alternatives might look like. We also see the personalized financial advice working well. So because Cyberbank Connecta can see what's going on in your financial life really from sort of a 35,000 foot view, and can sort of look at what your inflows are, what your outflows are, how you spend money, how much you save, and all of that. It can recommend a financial advice that's impactful and that customers appreciate. And once the customer agrees, basically, to take that advice, it can recommend the specific products and put them on the right path to get to getting to those getting to those goals. So I think, do we see a drop in customer inquiries, taxing customer service representatives? Absolutely. So there's absolutely that cost savings element. I mean, I think we have a client that saw an 80% drop in customer inquiries to customer service representatives because the intelligent digital assistant was able to meet their needs. But the financial advice one, I think, is super exciting, and we certainly have clients doing that. The other piece that I think is worth mentioning is there's a real generation gap here. If we think about the next generation and what their expectations are, they don't want to talk to a human. They don't want to call a human. They want to have a text-based interface, and they're fine talking to an intelligent digital assistant as long as it's helping them on their path, and it's not sort of this a cold, lifeless, dumb interface that's a poor excuse for a search engine. So what I'm seeing is that, and what we're seeing is that our clients are increasingly seeing engagement from the next generation of customers who really don't want to talk to a live agent, who prefer the chat interface. And so they're using Connecta with WhatsApp, for instance, and other such text interfaces that are perhaps considered non-traditional by folks of my age, but the younger generation really appeals to them. And so we also see this increased ability to meet the needs of a whole generation of users that really want a text interface and seek out a text interface and prefer not to speak on the phone to a live agent.
That's great, and thanks, Dave. That also, some of that speaks to, Ron, what you were talking about earlier in terms of these IDAs being predictive and being able to look across the relationship in terms of where the opportunities are.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts on the benefits question. And by the way, David, I have 3 girls who are one's Gen Z, the other 2 millennials, and I don't think anything makes their eyes roll when either their mother or I tell them, listen, you're going to have to call the bank, or you're going to have to call them. Like, oh, I got to talk to somebody, really? So yeah, that generational difference is there. Although sometimes I wonder if I'm really a millennial Gen Z, because I don't want to talk to anybody either. So I get it. But look, you're spot on in terms of the benefits and the cost aspect and the productivity aspect of it. But I think there's often I think a lot of folks overlook a very, very important benefit here. And there are 2 benefits, really. One is about data gathering. Everybody, you guys got to be tired of all this. Oh, data is so important. Data is so important. But where are the processes for collecting and better utilizing data? Look, if you're in a typical contact center context, they're collecting a lot of data on a day-to-day basis. And to be able to utilize, analyze, and react to the data trends that they see in a contact center takes months. Literally takes months to do that. With an intelligent digital assistant, it is collecting an amazing amount of data and being able to better analyze it and report on it in a much, much faster context. And so you're getting better data, and more importantly, you have a better capability to utilize and respond to that data than you can without this technology, or utilizing simply, call center CRM data, or the CRM applications. And this is just absolutely critical capability, and I don't see a lot of organizations thinking specifically about that.
That's a very important piece of the puzzle there, Ron. Thank you. Dave, just, you've touched on this a little bit in the last question, but additional thoughts around Cyberbank Connecta and how it's unique for delivering that exceptional experience.
So I love this question because as a product person, it lets me showcase my product, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's all about empathy. So analyzing human behavior in real time to collect vital information is super challenging. It's not something chatbots ever did, and it's something that an intelligent digital assistant has to do. So are you using empathy to analyze the human behavior and really collect that information and help use it to come to decision making? Are you continually learning so that as customers are, as you're launching new products and customers are coming to you with new questions, are you taking that and adding that to your model so that the financial institution that's using Connecta is constantly benefiting from the evolution of this intelligent digital assistant and is not held back to the way they originally trained it on day one? Are they applying deep learning models to learn from those customer interactions? So I think those are all parts of this empathy engine that we've built, and all parts of the product that really make it unique. I think this sentiment analysis and emotion detection is really hard to get right. And so we spent a lot of time focusing on that. And as you could see in the demo, not just building that into the product itself in the way it interacts with customers, but also making sure that the way when you do an agent handoff, the agent gets that immediate indication of sentiment, so that, again, they can pick up the customer relationship in the customer's context and not have to learn that the customer is frustrated. So providing a tailored user experience and improving customer service and efficiency, that's all built in. The other piece that I'd say is important is if I really think about the way financial institutions leverage customer service, mostly to help alleviate customer complaints. A lot of times what I see is that the reason customers call their bank is because there's a problem. Customers don't usually call their bank to say hi or find out what's new or understand new products. Customers call because there's a problem and there's a challenge. And if a financial service institution is lucky, maybe they get the opportunity to pitch a new product. But at the end of the day, they're trying to resolve the customer issue. And I think what Connecta is doing is really flipping that equation and helping that bank's brand, the bank's trust, and the way customers feel about their brand, helping that be somewhat omnipresent. When the customer needs the bank, they can surface the assistant and interact with it using a whole bunch of different technologies, whether it's a chat built into the app, whether it's the website, whether it's Siri or Amazon Alexa or any of those other technologies we previously mentioned. But when they don't need it, it kind of goes away. So it helps the bank become an important part of the customer's life when it's needed and disappear when it's not. And I think that's an important part of brands moving into this next generation of sort of, we want to be relevant for customers, but we don't want to send a whole bunch of cold offers all the time or be annoyingly sort of interruptive in the customer experience. So I think there's a whole aspect to an intelligent digital assistant that says, I want to be there for my customers when they need me, and I want to disappear when they don't. And so creating the right amount of emotion and empathy in the product, but also building this omni-channel experience that lets this digital assistant disappear when it's not needed is just as important.
Yeah, so really being ready to meet the customer when and where they want to be met, and understanding where they're at. That's awesome. So I think we're kind of winding down here. I guess I'd ask you both to think about if customers or financial institutions and fintechs are out there trying to think about where to start. Ron, what's your advice to someone that's trying to evaluate AI tools to elevate the client experience?
I think it has to start without any discussion of technology, AI tools, or anything like that, and start with the discussion of what are the challenges and problems we're having, and that's internally. It's what's taking too long, what's producing too many problems, where's is it too expensive for us to do things? Where are we seeing the problems? What are the problems we have that we need to address and solve, and then work backwards to, is it a simple process fix, or is there technology like AI, conversational AI, generative AI, that is going to help alleviate the problem, which might be speeding it up, making it better, improving the quality, whatever it might be. But it has to start with problem definition.
Thank you. That's great. Dave, your thoughts here?
Couldn't agree more. I think frequently when I have conversations with clients, it starts with an infrastructure problem or an internal problem with the bank's technology stack, right? I need to replace my CTI system, my computer telephony integration system, and my customer service center. And I struggle, but I think the best way to really attack the problem is really to take a completely different approach and say, let's forget the bank system for a second and focus on the customer. What is the customer situation? What is the problem you're trying to solve for them? And what's the experiences that you need to build in order to solve that problem in the best way for them and for that relationship? Because at the end of the day, as a bank or as a fintech, your customer trust and your customer relationship is the most important thing that you have. So how do I build something that bolsters that trust and relationship, as opposed to thinking about how do I build something that makes my internal processes easier or my internal infrastructure stack somewhat less costly? I think, yes, there's cost savings here, but I really think by starting with the customer's situation and the customer problem, the opportunity is for financial services organizations to leapfrog the previous technology versus replacing it. So this is not about technology evolution. This is really about how can I take my brand and project it to customers and really create and reinforce this relationship using technology so that I'm better solving my customers' problems. I'm solving them faster and more accurately, and I'm building on that trust versus using a cost savings mechanism to create a colder, less close, less trusting relationship. And I think, Ron, if I think about what you said, really thinking about the customer first, I love it. I think it's exactly where we need to start.
That's great, guys. Some really insightful dialogue today. Appreciate you both taking time to talk about conversational AI, giving our watchers and listeners a little more insight to the Cyberbank Connecta conversational AI platform. So I thank Ron and I thank Dave for their time today. And I encourage our listeners and watchers to reach out to us at galileo-ft.com/connecta. If you want to schedule a full demo, we'd love to talk to you. We'll get you connected to one of our digital banking experts. And so with that, I'm going to close out our session today. Again, Ron and Dave, thank you very much for your time.